Hi, welcome to this week's episode of the Retirement Readiness Podcast. Today we're talking about what it does not mean to shatter your fishbowl.
The Retirement Readiness Podcast with Tim Regan and Katie Umland. Presented by Prairie View Wealth and Tax Advisors. Live your 2-comma life.
Let's get rolling. So we've talked a little bit about what it means to shatter a fishbowl, but I think that as we unwrap that and think about it a little bit, sometimes it's easy to maybe take it for what maybe it's not intended to be, and you go down paths that maybe you think are that what the concept is, and so sometimes it's easier just to think about, okay, if it's been described what it is, well, maybe help me understand by describing what it's not.
What it's not.
Yeah, for sure. It's because I could say, shattering my fishbowl is I've always been afraid of heights. And so I want to just shatter that bowl. And so now I'm going to
jump off the roof.
Yeah, exactly. Not my best move, right?
Maybe not
my best move.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you will be shattered.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Maybe too literal.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Fishbowls and everything else all shattered. No, exactly. And so it's like I could still shatter that fishbowl around, for example, Timmy and I keep that fear of heights thing. Like, we're both terrified of heights. And so every year we hang the lights on our house, second story peak, do the whole 9 yards, because that's the day we're not going to let it whoop us, right?
Yeah.
We're going to get out there and we're going to defeat it that day. Even if I don't any other day, that day I'm defeating it. But we have a ladder that's securely on the ground, that is not wobbly. It's not leaning.
One of you's at the bottom of the ladder.
Yeah. Like all of it. Right. No, I'm not so far as to say I'm like tethered, like I'm OSHA safe.
Yeah.
But we're secure in doing that, but it still is a way for us to shatter the fishbowl and get outside of the comfort zone. I once read a book where the guy took his son to South America, and they did cliff diving, but where you do it, and I forget what it is, like parasailing, basically, where you're basically a human kite.
Oh,
and
cool.
You run and you get to the end of the cliff and you just jump.
Oh, wow.
And now you're a human kite, and you're,
oh my gosh.
To me, that's a little maybe on the reckless side. I don't know that just because I'm afraid of heights, the way I crush that or shatter through that is I start going to that extreme. But there are ways that I can do it in a measured way that allow me to shatter.
Or even if that does sound awesome to you, that can be your end goal, and you have 5 steps to get there.
Yep, 100%. And it's like, you don't just show up, like make your own kite, show up, and I jump off, like you said, jump off the roof, and I'm going to try it.
I saw something on TikTok, and so now I know how to do this.
Exactly. And so there's ways that you can look and say, of those things in my life that I feel like I need to shatter, that I feel like I'm being confined by, how do I smartly go about shattering that bowl in a way that isn't going to be do or die type of a deal. And a lot of times you think about that in a lot of different aspects. So I use the example of, being scared of heights, and it's pretty obvious. You're not going to jump off the roof with to get over your fear of heights type of thing. But there's other things that sometimes people can start to, kind of like get outside and not really think that it's they think it's shattering the fishbowl, but really maybe it's a little more reckless than shattering the fishbowl. So for example, we were just talking about this over the weekend with Lily and Andrew. They were in town, and Lily's got this idea, it's a dream. She would love to own a bridal shop. She's a teacher, 6th grade English teacher. So going from 6th grade English all the way to bridal
business
shop,
owner,
that's a pretty big leap, right? But we're business owners. We've owned businesses in the family, and so it's not that big of a leap. And so as we were talking about it, we started talking about how could you get there, and probably the first step is on your summers or the nights and weekends you're not working.
Yeah,
you work in a bridal shop.
Yeah,
and you start to understand what are the inner workings and how does it work, and like not only will I understand how to run that business better, but I'll also start to understand, is this really what I want to do?
double check.
Yeah. Versus we could go all in, rent space, start ordering gowns, we're shattering that fishbowl, but in a much more reckless way. And so there's ways that we can start to do that in more measured and appropriate ways, rather than literally, it doesn't have to be a do or die kind of a decision.
I think sometimes you're looking for a sign to do what you want to do.
Yep.
And you're seeing it as a sign of, oh, this is what I should do. But you're just looking for that sign, you know, like,
please, if I'm supposed to have a cookie, let there be one in the pantry.
Right, exactly.
There is.
Oh, I just bought some yesterday.
Yeah.
But kind of, you know, like reaffirming, what is that when you're looking for confirmation bias?
Yeah.
Like you're
for
already
sure.
looking for that.
Yeah. Well, and I think what happens is, and this is really kind of touchy, and like not touchy, but kind of tricky to figure out, because there are some goals that they're so big, you're afraid to say them to somebody else,
Right.
because you think they're going to think you're silly,
Right.
and you're embarrassed to say them. That sometimes is the indication of the right goal.
Right.
On the flip side, there are some goals that you're afraid to tell somebody
are silly
because you know it's a silly goal,
Yeah.
and you know that when people give you the voice of reason,
you don't want to hear it.
the voice of reason, what you should be listening
Yes.
to, and you don't want to hear that.
Yes,
right?
that is tricky.
And so it's a very tricky time, but and usually, like in the book, I say, you know, usually the thing that you are the most afraid of, or the thing that you feel like is the thing you want to do the least, is usually the thing you need to do the most.
The most, yeah.
And in general, that's a pretty good rule. Just like in general, you know, lots of things are a good idea, but you take them to the extreme and it's not. And so that's a hard thing to do. And so one of the things that I would encourage people to think about is, if I'm thinking about this goal and I'm thinking about something I want to do that's going to get me out of that fishbowl, am I afraid to talk about it because I feel like it's too big of a goal? Or am I afraid to talk about it because I might look foolish because it's something that's self-destructive? Use another example. And this will be maybe another financial example. If I want to get into collecting cars, but I've never bought a old car before, my first move probably isn't start writing big checks to buy cars, because I don't know anything about them.
Mm-hmm.
I probably need to start going to auctions. I probably need to start reading the magazines. I probably need to find somebody I trust that knows what value is and what's in a good car, what's not. Rather than saying, well, I've always wanted to have a car collection,
I'm going all in.
I'm just going to start buying cars. You know, so there's this gradual way that you can do things. The way I like to think about it is doing it in a way that you don't ring a bell that you can't unring, or you don't have only a one door solution. Like, once I do this, there is no turning back. The more in your financial world and in life in general, the more we can have multi-door, option types of decisions, that's going to serve us much better than singular decisions that there is no.
It's also, so it's all tricky, because there's also something about taking a leap of faith.
Yep.
And it's so hard to know, when am I taking a leap of faith and trusting my instincts, and when am I being reckless and just jumping to
100%. And so, like, if you think about that, it's ways to unwind that a little bit. So I'll use me in our business as the example. Right now, we have a business plan where we're going to be acquiring other businesses, but we're acquiring other businesses that are virtually the same as our business. There's a lot of capital. I'm going to borrow money. I'm going to invest my own cash. We are going to take financial risk to make that happen. So there's financial risk, because I don't know that that's going to be successful. Will it pay off? Will I be able to service the debt load? Will I, there's some of that financial risk, but I have zero risk when it comes to running that business. I've done it for 30 years.
Right.
Now, if I said I'm going to do the exact same strategy, I'm going to buy the exact same number of businesses, borrow the same amount of money, I was going to do those things in a business that I have never been in before. Sure. Now that's reckless.
Risk on both sides.
It's risk on both sides. And so as you look at those decisions, that's where you have to start saying, okay, yes, I want to do this. But you have to apply the other rule of small, consistent actions lead to compound results. So like Lily and the bridal shop, if I want to go own a bridal shop, that's great. And I could say 5 years from now, I want to own a bridal shop. So in the next 5 years, I'm going to take small, consistent actions that are going to get me there. Maybe it just starts with, I act like I'm getting married and I go to a bunch of bridal shops shopping and see how do they do it? Like, what's the vibe and what do I like? What don't I like? Maybe it's getting a job at a bridal shop, starting to do that. Maybe it's even finding out who manufacturers are and could you be a sales rep for a manufacturer? Like whatever. There's lots of things that you can do between here and 5 years from now. And that 5 years is going to go by no matter what.
Yeah.
You do those small, consistent steps. Now you go to open the bridal shop. And guess what? You've lowered the risk. You're still executing on what you wanted to do. You're still shattering that fishbowl. You're just taking the appropriate steps to get there instead of just jumping all in.
As you're talking about that, I mean, so many like bells are ringing in my head because I have done this, made these bad choices before and recklessly bought a business that I didn't love. Yeah. And now I know.
And you're like, I like to bake.
Not even. Own a bakery. Not even. I don't even like to bake. I wanted to own a business.
Yeah.
And so like lots of bells are ringing in my head about that. And one of them, as you're saying, like, do this due diligence. Immediately, I'm no. It sounds way more fun.
Yep.
And way more ego driven.
Yep.
To say, I'm doing it.
I'm jumping in.
I'm doing it.
Yep. All in.
It does not sound fun to me to say I'm going to methodically take my time over the next 5 years to make this good choice.
Yep.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Does that mean I should jump in day one? No. But that means maybe all of it in general is not for me.
Yep. Well, but not necessarily. So let's think about that. Let's take that in a different example. Does it sound like fun to watch what you eat or to work out?
Right.
No. But if you watch what you ate and worked out,
in 5 years,
you would be a completely different person than you are today. I would be, like everybody, right? And so it's like sometimes that's where sometimes the thing you don't want to do the most is the thing you need to do the most.
Yeah.
So like I don't want to work out every day. But if I want to be on the floor playing with my grandkids when I'm 90, or like my real goal, if I want to go water skiing with my grandkids when I'm 90, I better start doing the things today that are going to lead to that, even though those aren't the things I want to do. Similarly, if I want to, let's say that my goal is that I want to take more risk in my portfolio. I've always been a conservative investor. I want to take more risk in my portfolio. As I look to do that, that doesn't mean that tomorrow I start investing lots of my money in high risk types of things. No, I can look and say, okay, I'm going to start with, let's say I have a $500,000 portfolio. I'm going to start with $50,000. If I lose 50,000, that's going to hurt and it's going to set me back, but I can probably recover. If I do 100,000 or 200,000 or 500,000, all of a sudden I can't recover from that. Think about Sarah and I in that. For me, part of what I've always thought I wanted to do would be to own some commercial property. Obviously, we own a couple little small commercial stuff, but would like to do that in a bigger way. I don't know that business.
Right.
I don't know what it takes to make sure a building is in shape when somebody moves in and moves out. I don't know what should I do, what shouldn't I don't know how to collect the rents or and so should I jump in and say I'm all in going for a big complex? No, I should probably go to the partner that I have in some of my other real estate and say, hey, you've done this before. What if we did another building together?
Together, yeah.
It cuts my financial risk. I get to learn from him. Whole different ball game. And so it's looking and saying, this is what I want. I want to shatter this bowl, but how can I shatter it in a smart way so it doesn't end up to
Man, I just like, it's so hard to make those choices because I totally agree with what you're saying and that makes total sense. But then I also think of examples like the owner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
Do you know this guy? I can't think of
Jerry Jones.
Okay, Jerry Jones. Do you know his story and stuff? So he owned oil fields, right?
Yep.
And none of them were paying out. He was in debt. He was losing everything. He puts all the rest of his money in this one rig. It strikes oil. He's like the richest man ever, buys a Dallas Cowboys, still is the richest man ever.
Yep.
Looking at that, so dumb. He got lucky.
Yep.
Right. So you hear those kind of stories.
And you're like, I want to do that.
I want to do that. Or an actor in.
And so even go down that path. Let's take on Jerry Jones, right? Several things. First, how many people are not him?
so many,
right?
Like
there are
you don't hear
more.
those stories.
Correct.
You hear the success.
There's tons and tons and tons of those. So one way to look at that is, could you do it? Maybe. Could that be your path? Maybe. Is that your most probable path, right? Like, what's your most probable path? But also, what you said was that he did that for a long time.
Long time. Yeah.
He was not an overnight success.
No.
Right? I always go to the Mark Cuban quote, and I won't quote it correctly, but it's something like when he was on Shark Tank, he said the number of overnight successes that took 25 years to get there.
Yeah, right.
Right? And so, yes, but he learned his craft and he learned the oil business during all of those times. He was skinning his knees. And so, yeah, are there times to be strategic and kind of go all in? 1,000%. So I'm not saying don't take risk
It's
at
just
all.
it's just so hard to know.
It is.
When do you say head down, get to work? And when do you say, I don't know. It's just, I get in my head all the time about it. And like, well, how do you know what?
Yeah. And there is no silver bullet there. The one area that I like to think about is do I have a reasonable suspicion or reasonable thought that this is something that I should go all in on? Meaning, I've never done this before. I'm going all in. Probably not.
Not a good choice.
I've been doing this for 15 years. I know what I'm doing. Let me go all in. And so I'll give you an example. So let's say that you're an auto mechanic and you've been a mechanic for 15 years and you've always dreamed about owning your own shop. Is there risk? Yes. Is there huge risk? Yeah. Do you know how to run a business? Not necessarily. You know how to work on cars. But for you to then say, I'm going to go lease a garage and I'm going for it, there's a reasonable amount of like consideration that you will be successful. You've done this. You know that how to turn a wrench. For you to say, I've always just liked cars and I've putzed in my own garage on my own cars. Now I'm going to open an auto shop. Probably not very high likelihood of it's reasonable for me to think that that's going to be the best thing for me to do, is how I try to kind of sort those things out.
Because I also think about like actors trying to make it in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love Dax Shepard's podcast, probably too much. And he always is saying like, he was in Hollywood trying to get even commercial jobs for 12 years before he got anything.
Yep.
Well, if you're a parent and you see your child struggling like that for 12 years, you're saying, cut the cord, man.
Yep.
Like give up on it.
Yep.
But then of course it worked out for him. And like, you just mentioned there's hundreds of thousands of others that didn't work out.
But it goes back to the same thing, right? It was the small, consistent steps he was taking for those 12 years that led to that success. So it's not about don't commit. It's not about don't work hard at whatever your craft is or whatever you're trying to accomplish. Even like me being a pilot, I started over a year ago with the idea that if I was going to head down, get it done, I could do it in like 6 months. Over a year later, I still don't have it done for a lot of reasons, but it's still taking one step after the other, after the other. And so to your point, it seems like people give up before they should. Sometimes it's like, when do I go all in? When don't I? But it was still 12 years of hard work that got him to do it. You talk about the actors, think about the Jim Carrey story. And again, I'll probably get it wrong in some of the details, but directionally it'll be correct. There was a time when he was traveling doing stand-up comedy, didn't have any money, and was sitting up like in the hills in Hollywood, dreaming the day when he was going to be in movies and that kind of stuff, and wrote himself a check for $10 million. 10 years later, he filmed Dumb and Dumber and was paid $10 million. He predated the check. So it was like, or post-dated the check out into the future. And it led to him doing Dumb and Dumber. So there absolutely is, let me set my goal. Let me work towards my goal.
Yeah.
Let me have a big goal. Let me be committed to that goal. Even if I fall down, I get back up and I keep working towards it 100%. So it's not about those things, but it's about, is it reasonable for me to think that I could do that? And for him, he was devoted to his craft. He worked at his craft every day. So is it reasonable for him to think that he could do that? Of course it is. Would it be reasonable for me to go out to Hollywood right now and say, I'm going to be a stand-up comedian or I'm going to star in Dumb and Dumber? well, Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Cash that check. No, you're just Dumb and Dumber without the check.
Without the check. That's right. That's right. But is it reasonable for me to think that I'm going to become? No, because I haven't worked at that craft. I haven't done those things. And so it's not, shattering your fishbowl isn't about being reckless. It's not about taking huge risks that I have no idea whether they're going to pay off or not. It's about recognizing there is nothing holding you back. If I wanted to be a Hollywood actor, I 1,000% believe I could do it. Now, I may not have as much skill and natural ability as somebody else, but if I wanted to do that, then I better start taking some classes. I better start doing some stage theater. I better start, doing the things that it would take to do that, because there's nothing that should hold me back, and I should be able to shatter that.
Do you know what I'm so jealous of? People that know what they want to do.
How about it?
Or like that know what they're good at, or like have some passion. I'm just a floater. I do not know what, if you, even like when I'm reading Shatter Your Fishbowl, it's like, if you could live without limits, or you could live,
what would you do?
What would you do?
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
I do not know. And I'm so jealous of people that do know that. I was listening to another podcast, like with an actor. I don't know why they're all actors.
You like your actor?
I guess. And he was just saying like actually it was Luke Combs.
Love Luke Combs.
He was saying, he wasn't great in school. Didn't care about, like he didn't work hard. He was lazy all of his life until he found music. And then workaholic towards it.
Yeah. Like there's no turning that off.
No turning that off.
Yep.
And I always think like about myself, like I'm not super dedicated to anything. I don't stick with things. I can be lazy about things. Like I have some goals and then 2 days later, I'm kind of like, I'm over that. Like it's not that fun anymore. Or like, and I keep thinking like, maybe I'll find my music. Maybe this is all just intermediary time.
Yep, it is. Yep, it's all warm up.
But I'm so jealous of that. Like, I don't know how to find that.
It's so funny you say that, because what I think is, it's like the people that have the most talent, not the most rounded talent, are the ones that it's hardest to find with, right? Like if you woke up and you could just play the guitar, that would give you a direction. Oh, well, I'm good at this, right? I have a natural ability to do this outstandingly. But when you could do anything you put your mind to, it's hard to choose, what do I put my mind to, And then I see, like in our family, some of our kids, we have some of our kids that know exactly what they want to do. Other kids that are like, I could do this, I could do that, I kind of like that. Like I think about Tim. Tim is probably in a lot of ways the most like Sarah, my wife. And so with Tim, he loves doing things with his hands. He loves being physical. He can fix just about anything, build things. Like he loves that kind of stuff. But he's also a good thinker.
Mm-hmm.
And he also enjoys the idea of like problem solving from a thinking perspective. So there's part of me that thought, well, maybe he should become an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Great with math, hates school, like zero desire to go to school. And so like him and Sarah, like their dream jobs are, they would love to be servers on the beach in Mexico. They could be outside all day. They could be talking to people. They could be active, walking up and down the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Like they would love to do that. That's probably not going to pay the bills that Timmy wants to pay.
Doesn't achieve his other dreams.
Exactly. And so it's then finding the way that he can balance those and say, how do I excel in a profession that's going to allow me to do the things that I enjoy while also making a good living, but also balancing that with.
Well, here's another thing that I struggle with along the same lines of like, okay, these are the things that I really like to do, but I don't want to work nights and weekends.
Yep.
Okay.
There goes that.
That goes that.
Yeah.
So when do you say like, okay, that doesn't fit? Or what do you say, that's what it takes?
Yeah. And again, right, it's all hard because like the way that I would work through that personally is I would start asking myself questions, right? So let's say, let's use I want to be a server in a restaurant because of all the benefits that I get out of that. But I'm like, I don't want to work nights and weekends. So then start working backwards and saying, well, why don't I want to work nights and weekends? Well, that's the time when the kids are around. Well, what do I do with the kids? Why do I spend time with the kids? Like that can kind of go down that path. And you could find, oh, well, I spend time with the kids when they're in town. They're usually in town on the weekends, but they only come in town on the weekends every 6 weeks, every 8 weeks. So potentially I could find a spot where I could work and take those weekends off. So it's like, as you start to work backwards, or like for you with young kids, you might say, well, nights and weekends, that's when Alex is available. We can all be together as a family, those kinds of things. But you might also uncover, but there's also times when it's nice when Alex could just have the kids and he could have one-on-one dad time with the kids. Maybe not now when the Twinskies
one-on-4 time with the dad.
Yeah, that's right. When the Twinskies are so young, but you might come to realize, oh, well, I could pick up Thursday nights and Saturday nights, scratch that itch and be able to do that, make a living, and let Alex have one-on-4 time with the kids. But yet we still have 5 nights a week and that we're together. And so it's kind of taking a step back and asking, getting the underlying reason, why is this important and why do I want to do it?
So how to not shatter your fishbowl. We wound up.
Yeah.
Life advice for Katie.
Yeah. How about it?
Is that how we end all the podcasts? It turns into life advice for Katie.
I don't think so. I think that I learned more from you than you do from me.
Maybe that should be our a post segment or a subsection of this podcast. Life advice for Katie,
or retirement readiness. The Katie therapy session,
the mom edition, Katie mom edition.
Yeah, exactly. But I think, like, to kind of land the plane a little bit, when you think about shattering your fishbowl, you should have no limits on what you think you can do. No limits. We should shatter every fishbowl that we have. However, that does not mean to shatter the fishbowl, you have to self-destruct or all or nothing, these binary decisions. I either am very successful or I've completely failed.
I don't go all in, that means I'm not shattering my fishbowl.
Exactly. Yeah. To shatter your fishbowl, you have to say, I know that I can accomplish X. Now let's put together the plan so that I can take the small, consistent steps day in and day out to make sure that I accomplish that. Because the other thing that happens is when you go all in, it's not just the risk to your money or risk to your health, those types of things. But it's also, it will affect your relationships. So if I decide I'm going, let's say we use Lily again as the example, going all in on wanting to open a bridal shop. If she did that, that's going to change her time with Andrew. It's going to change her stress level. It's going to change potentially for a while the money that they have to go on vacation. It will change her ability to take a vacation.
Having kids.
Go right down the
later,
list.
not.
Yeah. Then we have the maternity section and all that stuff. But it's like, and so it's not just about, I'm going to go all in and shatter this fishbowl. It's saying, I'm going to shatter the fishbowl. That's not questioned. We have to then set, okay, what's a reasonable time in which I'm going to do that? And what are the steps I'm going to take in order for me to accomplish it? And what it's not just reckless abandon. I want to do this. And so I'm thrown in.
And I won't listen to reason or the things that I don't want to hear.
Yep. Yeah. Well, like for me, I'll use a personal example. So for Sarah and I, for us, I would love to have a place on a beach that she and I can go to so that we have like endless summer. In my mind, that is nice. In my mind, I don't know for sure. Yeah. We'll see when we get there. So I found myself thinking about having a condo in Cancun or having a condo in Belize. I've never been to Belize. Here it's beautiful, but I was thinking these things. But then as I was thinking about it, I'm like, well, why? Why do I want that? I want those locations because it's not the same to me. If I go to Florida and it's 65 and somebody's wearing a jacket, I want to be on the beach every day of the year.
Every day, yeah.
But then I realized that's not what I really want. What I really want is I want to have a house on 7 Mile on Grand Cayman, and I want that house to be large enough that the kids can come down and hang out. Mm-hmm. What I'm doing is
making it an attainable goal.
Exactly. I'm talking myself out of that because I have this fishbowl that doesn't identify with, I could be that guy.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean I'm selling everything I got and putting all my money down there. No, but it does mean, all right, in the next 10 years, I can do the things that it would take for me to be able to do that. I may get to 10 years and realize that ain't really what I want to do anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm no longer setting the self-confined limit on what I can do and playing it safe because I'm afraid to say what I really want and go after what I really want. So just as we unwrap what's
Well, I am constantly doing that, and it's much to Alex's demise because, like, we have moved several times. It's the big joke. We move a lot.
not a joke. It's reality.
It is reality. Yes, I know. But one of the reasons is that I am never honest about what I actually want.
What you actually want. Yep.
Because I am trying to be conscious of money.
Yeah.
I'm trying to not put a burden on Alex. I'm trying to make this be okay. So I'm talking myself into this.
Yep.
Ultimately, it always comes out what you actually want.
Exactly.
But it comes out in a much worse way at a much worse time.
Yeah, for sure.
And makes everything harder.
For sure. Now, thank goodness, though, you and Alex moved this last time with twinskis,
yes,
right?
We had to.
You guys could not have been in your old house.
No.
And
1,200 3-bedroom house.
Yeah.
1,200 square foot house.
Just wouldn't work. But as you make that transition and you think about it, it's very similar. Like right now, you guys may be thinking about, oh, what if we moved again? Because this house wasn't exactly what I wanted. But this house is very functional for your family.
Yeah.
So you're not under the gun that you have to move tomorrow. Right. So now you do have the flexibility and the freedom to say, well, what do I really want?
Yeah.
And now how do I get to where we really want to be? And it might take us 5 years, not 5 months. And that may be hard, especially if you're a quick start that says, I just want to get going and let's do it now. But you can still shatter that fishbowl. It's just being more methodical in how you do it.
Okay, so, I'm going to stop talking.
So is the plane landed?
I think you landed it.
The plane is landed.
Okay.
Yeah. So
we don't have any time to talk about anything else.
Nope, nothing else. But in your house, Alex and the kids are excited for Christmas.
Everybody, yes. Alex is maybe the most excited.
Yes.
We went to a lighted parade in Tinley last night, which
cool.
We've gone to every year. We love it.
Well, you guys like Tinley.
We love Tinley for some reason. I know it's not like.
It's
not
awesome.
Everybody loves Tinley Park, but we really do. It just is. It fits for us. But we've taken the kids every year for the past several years, and it's so sweet, and they just really loved it.
I always picture Alex as Buddy the Elf.
Yeah.
With as much as he likes Christmas.
As we were watching the lighted parade last night, which Quinny's 2, and she was just so sweet. She was so excited. Every single float that went past, Dad, like so excited. And Alex is like, how can everybody not love Christmas?
Yeah.
Like he was hardcore in his Christmas feels. So yeah, it was very sweet.
No, I picture, if you can picture the movie, I know you can. But for our listeners, like when Santa shows up at the department store and Buddy sees him, Santa, I know him. Right. I picture Alex every day of Christmas. Yeah, for sure.
So, and you had several of your kids home this weekend.
We did. A lot of kids
home.
Half
of them home, I guess.
Half of them home. All of them home for Thanksgiving. They'll all be home for Christmas. So it's good, which is good and bad because now every time they come home, Sarah decides we need a bigger house. With,
it stirs up all kinds of needs and wants.
Yeah. But we'll take them. I like them home. But it's so funny, the transition now to being an empty nester. Like we genuinely also look forward to when they go back.
That's kind of nice. It's nice to have both.
Yeah, it is.
I'm really glad that it's transitioning to that because it's a rough transition at first.
For sure.
Like it takes some getting used to.
And it's easier for me because I have the business, I have outside interests where for Sarah, when that was her career.
She stays home and stews about it because it's so different.
And what I was thinking about with that was imagine that, and this happens to lots of people, hopefully it doesn't happen to you or I, but there are people that don't have the choice to retire.
Yeah.
And that's basically what happened, right? I mean, there was a time limit set on this.
Yeah.
She had no choice. She was forced into retirement.
Yeah.
At a time when probably she was having more fun with the kids.
I was going to say, and you're just really getting your stride because the kids they're more self-reliant or self-independent and, whatever. And you're really in a groove. And then it's like, I guess now they have to go find their own groove.
Yeah. I guess that's over.
Yeah.
So. But anyway, so stay tuned for next time.
Yeah. So for more information and more resources, pv-wp.com. See you next time.
The Retirement Readiness Podcast with Tim Regan and Katie Umland. Presented by Prairie View Wealth and Tax Advisors. Live your 2-comma life. Learn more at pv-wp.com. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to the Retirement Readiness Podcast on your preferred podcast platform.